Hi, everyone. We are here. We are live. Had one of those mornings where I was on a chat with someone, those connections that you're just like, we could literally talk all day long, but I actually have to go now. So, thank you for your patience getting everything all set up here. So, we are talking about why is this group called Superconscious Leaders and what the fuck does that even mean? Which is going to be really powerful because so many of you are new to this group and you don't maybe understand the level of energy that we work with and play in here with. And I'm just really excited to be able to spend the next hour or less with you, just really diving into this topic, really diving into what it really means to command miracles in our reality, meaning you get to step into the leadership position that you're literally wondering, like, why are our leaders not like this? So, for those of you who are new, I'm Karen Terrace. I'm the Dragon Doula. I'm a super conscious leadership mentor, metaphysical strategist, and witnesser of the birth of dragons. Dragons meaning humans who understand that they are their creators manifested in physical form. So dragon consciousness is also Christ consciousness. So we're talking really high levels of understanding that your life is a melodrama that you have written for yourself. You just forgot that you wrote it for yourself. Coming into full divine union with who you are as a singular being, understanding that you have karmic contracts, you have all these titles, these different roles that people will play, and it's literally the same as giving someone a script and being like, you're Romeo, you're Juliet, you're gonna be Juliet's father, you're gonna be like, that is what we have done for our own lives. And as super conscious leaders, we are the ones that are going to be expanding the consciousness of the entire planet so that we can have global success as we build new earth. What is new earth? Let's make sure that we have like a working definition for this term. And in this group, the working definition for new earth is a whole entire planet, all of the inhabitants having shifted into inhabiting the physical plane of fifth dimensional consciousness. How are we going to do that? It's going to take having every man, woman, and child no longer have any of their base needs like needing them, right? So they've completely healed their root chakra. They're 100% supported in their base needs for survival, meaning that they have access to clean water, healthy food, shelter, medicine. They can have any medicine, like have access to any medicine that they need, right? One of the things I was talking about with my friend before I got on here is her husband has cancer, and they are finally like coming to the naturopathic energetic side because the Western doctors just don't understand how this man has 3 different types of cancer in his body. And yet, having even just a conversation with him, it's very obvious that there's a electromagnetic dysfunction going on in his belief systems. Like his molecular structure is breaking down because he's not able to hold the quantum energy that he's done through his mindset work. His body hasn't caught up yet because we interplay in our realities where we are just energy manifested in form as matter because we've condensed the energy, but we can manipulate the energy. You can literally have an entirely new body. You can have a completely different life 1 week from now you can have a whole different life in a day. Like yesterday I manifested everything that I thought was going to take next 5 years to build. It's already built, and I just had to walk into the reality where it's already built, and now we're going to move forward with it. Like this level of utilizing quantum mechanics and unified field science and neuroscience along with kundalini energy, chi energy, manipulation of chaos into creation, that is what a super conscious leader is in their own space. But how it looks to the outside world, you're an entrepreneur, you're a visionary, you're a healer, you're a thought leader, an innovator, an inventor, a politician. Okay, think about this. What if we had more city council people, mayors, judges, all of this inside of our court systems, like inside of our actual system, right? So last week when we did our swamping, we did our raging inside the group, I read you that quote from the Sophia Code that talks about how our all of the big problems in our globe, the famine and the sex trafficking and the corruption isn't going to be solved in the same systems that created it, right? What got you here isn't going to get you there. The systems that created all these problems aren't going to solve those problems, especially because a lot of them benefit that system. So while the patriarchy is crumbling, we are going to need way showers and light bearers and pillars of light and superconscious leaders to hold down those areas, meaning high end, high functioning people who can go back into the fray and act as black ops for consciousness. You're in the role, you are literally in the matrix, being Neo and Trinity, but you have figured out a way that you blend in with the AI and nobody would ever expect, right? So you know how like the guys like always know, they're like, oh shit, there's one, right? I can't remember what their name is, but like there's the command, right? Like that's totally Star Trek. Just Discovery, just merge the two, it's fine. Like there he is, there's the guy that's always trying to get Neo and Trinity, like picks him out, right? And they can be anyone. What if we were able to even like trick the AI, like you were that blended but also fully aware, right? So you're a city councilwoman, senator, judge, nonprofit leader, right? So many people who I work with are amazing entrepreneurs. They have 6, 7 figure businesses. They are traveling the world speaking. They're already doing all these things. And on a very personal level, they're just like, yeah, I'm totally killing it. I make 7 figures every year. I don't really need to do a lot more. And they forget that the reason why they even became entrepreneurs wasn't just only for their own family, but for the betterment of all of humanity. And somewhere in the process of building their company, they have gotten lost from that and they forget, like, oh, wait, no, I want to build a nonprofit. Oh, wait, no, I have charities that are deep and dear to my heart, right? Ascension Volume 1, which is the book that just came out on March 2nd that I'm published in, all of the proceeds go to Operation Underground Railroad, which is a nonprofit foundation that's helping with sex trafficking and of children and ending that whole like victimization of children within the sex trade. Like that's a huge thing that's going on this planet that people don't really want to talk about. So super conscious leaders, we're not afraid to talk about the shadows behind global consciousness and bring them into the light, right? Polyamory is becoming more and more acceptable in tiny little pockets. But if there were more people that were standing up, right? There's like, this is my lifestyle and who I am as a person, this is my life, doesn't change the fact that I'm actually very capable of running a city, or I'm very capable of being a CEO. Or like there was a in Vermont, was it Vermont? In Vermont, a transgendered Satanist who, yeah, transgendered Satanist who became the sheriff because she ran as Republican and ran unopposed in this Republican county. So she became the county sheriff on a defund the police platform because everyone in that county just checked the mark, like checked the box Republican. So they never even vetted her, didn't look. She ran unopposed in the primary. She was automatically on. And because it was a Republican county, she won. But her actual beliefs and morals and values are not Republican, and they all tried to get her cut out of office once they figured out who she was, which they couldn't do, obviously, because she rightfully won the vote. But it shows you how much they and like the fray and the general them of our population is just like, oh, Republican must be in alignment with me. And they don't even know their own values. So, but how easy. She's super conscious. Like, if you go follow the things, like, she's helped the crime rate. She didn't defund the police. She reorganized it, got all sorts of amazing things going on there. And she's actually helped the crime rate in that county go down. And everyone's like, what? How did you do this? Like, you're supposed to be in this box. You're transgender. You're Satanist. You don't believe in the system at all. And yet she's working within the system to change it. That's who super conscious leaders really are. You're not just trying to detach from the matrix and go build new earth over here completely separate in some utopian commune that ends up becoming a corporation anyway 99% of the time. You're actually willing to be in the fray and act as that conduit of understanding to bridge the gap between the metaphysical understanding and the quantum understanding into the political, social, and economic spheres. You're going to play within the geopolitical sphere that already exists, and you're going to be sending the superconscious energy into it and imbuing it so that you're helping. You no longer are dealing with your own shadow work, right? Like, we don't do shadow work in this group because by the time you find this group, you've done all the shadow work that you're probably ever going to fucking need to do. And it's now time to own that you get to hold this frequency of bliss. You get to be a shining light. You get to be a beacon. Your life does get to be amazing. You do get to have all your wildest dreams come true. You do get to have people fucking hate you because your life is magic. And that's okay because you just love the fuck out of them. You just send them love and light and you manifest everything, right? Just like Ariana Grande says, right? Losing friends left and right, but I just send them love and light, right? What? Oh, sorry, someone sent me something. Um, so how do you do this? Here we go. 144. How do you really step up as the leader in your life? Because this comes back, you guys, to this understanding of the melodrama that you are the lead actor or actress in your life. And if you were to try to create a synchronicity map of how you got to where you are right now, well, I wouldn't be in this group today if this hadn't happened. And I wouldn't have, that wouldn't have happened if this hadn't happened. And that wouldn't have happened if this hadn't happened. And you can go back, and I have clients do this, as we draw synchronicity backs. They will literally get all the way back to how their parents met. And then they finally realize, holy shit, this is too beautiful. It's too much of that Fibonacci golden ratio web that is occurring. Like, it's too perfect. There's no way that any of this is random because of how clean these connections are, right? So once you start seeing the web that you've weaved for yourself and you start realizing you are the one who has created this reality, you then learn how to manipulate it. You learn the different roles that people are playing in your life as the reflection for what you need to learn. And there's nobody that you hold any animosity for. This is how you start doing the global shadow work, meaning you start being able to stand up for the global shadows because you're so solid in who you are as a fractal of the divine manifested in form, singing your own song, which really just means standing in your own power and speaking your truth, right? Speaking your truth like it's your art and not just copycatting whatever person is near you, right? That happens a lot for light workers that aren't actually doing, they're like Catholics that say they're Catholic but they only go to church on Christmas Eve and Easter, right? That's a huge part of the light worker community. They're not standing in front of the mirror when they're in the middle of a trigger actually taking the time to say, no, I am Dragon Empress Karen. I am here to set the world on fire. I am here to help the patriarchy burn while also simultaneously building new earth so we can shift dimensional planes of 2 dimensions with all the inhabitants. I am here to show that my children's children's children aren't going to ever have to do ancestral bloodline work. Like, and I sit there in the mirror and I have this conversation with myself. And I do the breathing. And I do these things that in a few minutes, what takes other people months to process because they're not willing to just literally look in a fucking mirror and own who they are. They're not willing to move their body. They're not willing to start looking outside of the social constructs that have been given to them when it comes to what medicines to use, who they get to love, what sort of relationship they have with other people. When you start to really look at your relationships, you start to realize how you relate in this world. And again, that relation is all based on your own reality. It's all based on your own perception. Three people inhabiting a room, all being in three different states of consciousness, are actually all going to experience that room differently. Ergo, your reality is your perception. So if you can perceive yourself as a dragon, if you can perceive yourself as a leader, if you can perceive yourself as someone who absolutely would take a fucking bullet for this new earth, then you're in the right spot. Why would you take a bullet for New Earth? Because you know that you're an infinite being, and just because you get killed this lifetime, it's not actually going to matter. You're able to transcend the death codes. You're able to own your light. You're able to actually, again, guys, I had a vision of something that I thought was going to take 5 years to build. Last night, I did a whole bunch of cord cutting, cleaned out a whole bunch of timelines, was really utilizing the 3-3 portal. It's a really powerful day for me. It's my son's birthday. And I've been doing this for 7 years, like influencing on the internet, talking about things that are unconventional and taboo. It started by talking about home births and being able to get out of the conveyor belt system of birthing. And that's why I'm the dragon doula, because the womb healing that occurs with me has to do with the birthing of a whole new reality, has to do with breaking away from the patriarchal constructs and becoming the solar child, becoming Horus. We are in the Aeon of Horus now. We were in the Aeon of Osiris, and now we're in the Aeon of Horus, meaning that we are going to see more and more shadows happening in the global sphere. Sex trafficking. How about sex workers? How about the fact that the oldest profession is sex working, and yet most women in that profession, men and women in that profession, don't have any protection? And I'm sorry, guys, for as long as there's going to be hookers or Johns, there's going to be hookers. Like, those are not going away. But no one's talking about this. Oh, prostitutes are dirty or evil. Like, strippers are bad, because we're sexually shamed in our country, in our world. Our whole world is sexual shame, because sex brings bliss. And if the population is blissed out, you can't control them. You can't, like, anyone ever like been like right after an orgasm and someone tries to tell you something, are you like gonna go and just like go do that thing? No, you're like, excuse me, I feel really good right now. The only thing I want to do is sit here and like be in this bliss and joy. So all of this sexual shame, all of this creation shame, all of the birth shame, go put women alone in their rooms, curse of Eve, it's painful to give birth, all of this stuff is actually because there's so much power in our sacral chakras, and it can scare people. It can look like manipulation. If you are someone who knows how to really hold and birth realities, other people are going to call you a black widow, a spider, a succubus, an incubus, like all of these different phrases, because they don't actually understand the level of you holding the knowing of what you're doing, and they're going to start throwing chaos at you as a reflection to see if you're actually willing to hold on to your vision. So it's not so much of like the old earth trying to like reach and grab you and drag you down. It's you are moving forward, and so it's not like you break free and then you're getting like grabbed again and sucked back. It's just that you've snapped some of the cords off, but as you're moving forward, you just notice some of the other cords just haven't been snipped yet, right? Once you've cleaned up a belief system, like fully cleaned it up, those cords can't like reach back and like reattach to you. Like, that shit is so fucking victim mentality. I swear to God, the next person that talks to me about how they're a victim to energy suckers and vampires, I'm gonna slap, because it's not that. There are no victims. You are creating your own reality. There is no one and no thing on this planet that has any power over you. You get to experience the entire spectrum of human emotions. You get to be pissed. You get to be sad. You get to have your heart broken. You get to have insane amounts of bliss. You get to have crazy orgasms. You get to have abundance and wealth and happiness and love beyond your wildest dreams. And you get to have all of that, all of the pain and all of the pleasure, but you are not a victim to other people's energies. And you're not even a victim to the global consciousness energy, because we all built that shit together. For the last several millennia, we've been building that together. So when you are feeling that pull, that resistance, resistance shows up to show you how resilient you are. It's literally like hiking a mountain. You hike the mountain and you get to that point where you're like, okay, now I'm at the fucking switchbacks. Okay. I live in Utah. I'm hiking all the time in the summer and you're walking on the path and it's so good. You're like, yeah, I'm having a great day. Look at that forest and look at those squirrels and the river and I'm having a great time. And then you get like 3 miles into your hike and all of a sudden the switchbacks start. And you're like, hey, the peak's just at the like the lake that we're getting to is at the top of this, and I just got to get through the switchbacks. And it's like, whoop, 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 whoop. And you are really like, and you're actually, it's not even like some of these switchbacks are like steep, flat, steep, flat, steep, flat, and you just keep going. You're like, seriously? When am I gonna get to the end of these fucking switchbacks? Like, I swear that, like, it's not that but now I can't see the top. Like, I literally can't see the fucking top of the mountain anymore, but when I was down there, I could. Like, when are these switchbacks going to stop? This is the resilient resistance that you're having to being a super conscious leader. A leader, not a behind the sceneser. Each and every one of you who is sitting here right now, if you're watching this live or on the replay, are here to be the face of a movement. Whether it's within your own family and you're healing all sorts of family trauma so that you know that your children's children's children aren't going to have to deal with those patterns. Whether you're leading in your communities by being a city councilwoman, by becoming a politician, by showing up and doing city education or working in Parks and Rec or wherever it is, in your companies, and actually showing up as like the new earth leaders that we needed, having like top down belief systems, everyone's in their zone of genius, like structuring your business so that it's easily going to fit into the new earth model of people. Every like the barista's pouring you your coffee and she's just like she's in her zone, like the baristas that are like artists at their coffee, and then the baristas that are like, fuck it, this is a fucking job, right? We want the artists. Like, everyone will be in their mastery of knowing that they are creating the masterpiece of their life. You are art. You are an artist. You are the author. You are the actor. You're a dragon. You are so conscious. You are super conscious, and it's time to take that out of your own personal bubble and put it into the global sphere. We do that in a very simple way. I'll give you the hint, okay? This is it. How do you stand up as a super conscious leader? As an individual, a couple, a company, inside of your home, your community, your cause, your country, your company? You do it in the mirror. You can look at yourself in the mirror and say all of the bad things to yourself and know that it's all true and a lie. It's all true because you are a reflection of all of the other things. So if you are triggered by someone, like Donald Trump used to trigger the fuck out of me. I couldn't even listen to him talk, but he was the president of our country and I'm very involved in politics. So not being able to listen to the president was like a problem. And I realized, well, what is it about him that bothers me? I don't like this. I don't like this. And I literally like wrote down a list of all of the things about listening to Donald Trump speak that bugged me. And then I took that list and I sat in front of the mirror and was like, Karen, you are a narcissist. I am a narcissist. I'm a fucking narcissist. And it was hard. And I was pissed and I didn't want to agree with it. And I was like, you are a dirty old man. Karen, you are dirty. I am a dirty old man. Like, what does that mean? What is the context of it? What is that actually saying? And I sat there and admitted that I had the ability to actually embody any of those energies. And then all of a sudden I could watch Donald J. Trump speak again for like the next 2 years. I could actually listen to his speeches, not get triggered, hear some of the things underneath there, like actually be a part of the conversation because I wasn't being triggered by who was talking anymore because of my constructs of who he was. That's the super conscious, right? The conscious people are teaching you how to look in the mirror and be like, I am beautiful. I am powerful. I am strong, which is all good things to say, especially if you have really low self-worth to begin with. But at some point, you need to own all of you, right? This is light loving shadow, shadow loving light. That's why I'm saying we don't do shadow work. Our shadow works with us. Like I'm in 3D. Hi, I have a shadow. It's literally been with me since the moment I was removed from my mom's uterus. It's not going anywhere. So the more you try to alchemize it, the more you try to fight it, the more you try to do all of that, you are not getting rid of anything. You are just coming into awareness of your unconscious thoughts. And here's the thing about unconscious thoughts, guys. The second, the fucking nanosecond, you write out what the unconscious belief is, and you have that moment of like, oh shit, I didn't realize the reason why I'm not creating the, for me was I had like a goal of how much money I wanted to make in my business. And I realized that the reason why I wasn't making it was because of an underlying belief that if I made that kind of money, I would leave my husband and my kids and just like run away to Bermuda. I was like, where did this come from? But as soon as I read it, guess what? It's no longer an unconscious belief. That is unblocked. It's literally now unlocked. It's no longer unconscious. It's now a conscious knowing this is a belief that I have. And now, how am I going to rewrite the belief? I'm going to rewrite it by saying, no, if I create that sort of wealth in my business, then I'm going to be able to support my children. I'm going to be able to bring my husband home. Like, and I just rewrote it, the belief system. And guess what? Then I was able to reach those income goals. Yeah, I could have sat there for like, oh no, why do I think I'm going to leave my husband and children? Well, where does that come from? And I could have kept digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. But for me, guys, eventually you realize like digging out all the roots takes way longer than just taking a goddamn flamethrower to the field and starting fresh. That's what super consciousness allows you to do. To be like, okay, there's a lot of weeds in this here. I could dig them out one by one, or I could just go get a flamethrower and incinerate that shit, and then the ash is going to be really good fertilizer. It's Kali Ma energy, super hard and fast, and you go through vortexes of ascension, get your balance back, and then you're like, okay, I got this. Build something, create, do it again. We're manipulating realities. I had a 5-year plan, and in one night, word cutting, met someone who already has all of the structure in place, everything that I've been envisioning, everything that I've been wanting to build. And guess what she was looking for? She was looking for someone who had the fire to keep it going because she was starting to burn out on it. And dragons work in pairs. A lot of the times you'll see like, oh shit, they were with this person. And then like even the concept of like two people being focusing their light and energy on one thing at once, they're still light and bright individually, but they're able to focus it and then move forward. And then that could be it. Like you could be in relation with someone for an hour and change their entire life. It happens to me all the time. The miracles in my inbox that occur from people who just randomly watch a live stream and how much impact they've had from an hour with me, not even actually one on one, but watching a replay of me from 3 years ago. That is what we're doing as superconscious leaders. We understand that time and space are a construct. We understand that our brains emit biophotons, a billion biophotons a second. Therefore, we're able to manipulate quantum reality. We can walk from one reality that we think we have 5 years of building and walk literally through 3 doors. And oh shit, I'm now in the reality where all of that already exists. And I've now zoomed 5 years in the future. Like it's it's quick. And the thing that's holding you back, the resistance, the things that make you feel like, oh, I'm being drained, I'm this, I'm that, that is a lack of integrity in yourself in believing that you are capable of holding that level of atomic energy. And it's all a story. And stories can be rewritten, like I said, like this. They don't take long. It's practicing it, right? So it is a muscle. It's why you have to do the work, why like carry a freaking like a mirror in your pocket if you have to. You're almost always somewhere where there's a bathroom. Just go and have a pep talk with yourself. Falling into your old thought patterns, allowing yourself to be unhappy. It's just not working anymore. And the reason why it's not working is because it's causing too much dissonance in your physical body. You can't be a crystalline being and then also be constantly like fighting with carbon-based belief systems. You have to eventually you have to commit. Are you going to run DOS or are you going to run the latest version of Mac iOS? Like you can't run both at the same time. But you can know how to work DOS while always running Mac iOS, right? Sometimes you got to go back and like deal with it, right? That's what we're doing in the superconscious. We've committed to the latest operating system, but that doesn't mean that we don't know how to interface with all of the ones beforehand. We're just not locked into them. We go in there, we fix them, we change them, we shift them, but we're coming right back here every time, right? We have deep, intense emotions. We get sad. We have karmic contracts that need to be cleaned up. We have relationships that break our human heart into a million pieces. We have friends stab us in the back. We have all these things happen, but we create it. It's a melodrama. Life would be boring if we were blissed out all the time. I'm fucking sorry. All of those of you out there that are like, bliss, love, and light. That's nice, and I don't fucking believe you. No one is blissed out all the time in 3D. It would be boring. If we wanted to be blissed out all the time, guess what? We would be dead. The people that supernova out of their body and they decide to go back to join unity consciousness, they're blissed out. They're there in the cosmic soup, totally blissed. The reason you are on this planet is to experience duality. Non-dualism is great. Understanding non-dualism is awesome. The point of this planet is not non-dualism. The point of this planet is to break humanity's addiction to suffering and switch it to a romantic, amazing relationship with creation. That's it. Earth is a pleasure planet. You can't experience pleasure without pain. You fucking can't. It's like having hot and cold. You can't define hot without defining cold. You can't define pleasure without defining pain. You can't have creation without having chaos. No one is sucking your energy from you. That is not happening. You are just not holding the integrity of your container. You're not holding who you are as a pillar of light, standing here as a conduit of Christ consciousness in integrity. And you're not doing that because there's some belief that somehow you're victimized by someone. I'm victimized by the patriarchy. I'm victimized by my old lover. I'm victimized by my mommy and daddy. I'm victimized by society at large. Start blaming your government for this, blaming your ex-wife for that, blah, 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 blah. You are a sovereign being. Everything that's ever happened into your life, you chose it. Everything that's going to happen in your life, you choose it. You are always already in your highest timeline because you're always working within your highest capability of consciousness that you have in that moment. You can shift consciousness moment to moment. The reason why you don't stay in your high timeline, your high blissed out timeline all the time is because your body doesn't know how to hold that level. So yeah, there's a lot of people that I know that do walk around blissed out on life. Like I'm one of them 90% of the time. But when I go down and I go down hard. And I soak in the aesthetic and the body feel, and I allow myself to feel the depths of the ocean of the energy that I'm experiencing, whether it's rage or sadness or jealousy or whatever negative emotion it is. And instead, I suck it all in and I say, look at all this energy and motion that's just available to me, and I'm going to feel it all. I'm going to feel every teardrop. I'm going to feel every hard moment of breathing. I'm going to feel every single crack in my rib while I think that my heart is shredding into a million pieces right now. And with all of that energy, I'm going to harness it and I'm going to lift even higher, and I'm going to be able to sustain this bliss feeling for a really long time because of how much energy I was able to harness by allowing myself to go there. The people that don't allow themselves to go into the depths of their emotion are walking around cut in half. If you deny, like if you embrace the spirit while denying the flesh, you are literally walking around cut in half. Not experiencing life and just being like, I am one with the grid. Like, you're not actually leading anyone anywhere. You're being in your own bubble. You're amazing at generating energy with it, but you're not leading. You're just being. There is a difference. There's actual action necessary in leading, but the way that we lead is by being. I know it's paradoxical. That's fine. That's what this whole life is about. You show people how to lead a life in high consciousness, but you have a purpose behind it. There's this not greater good, but you already know where we're going, right? You can see it and you actually have skin in the game. So many light workers don't have skin in the game because they don't actually have anything. They're so detached that they have nothing and therefore they don't give a shit about anything. And that's not going to help build the planet either. Having like, I love everyone and everything and I'm not attached to anyone or anything means that you don't have any commitment. There's no commitment and therefore you're not building anything because you're not willing to commit. I would say most of the light workers that I've met haven't actually committed to building new earth. They've committed to their own inner healing. They've committed to being a light. They've committed to like, I'm going to be one with the all, but they haven't committed to actually building anything because they're too busy being and they don't want to do. Oh, well, everything's about doing. All you have to do is decide that you are willing to lead and show up and scream from the rooftops your message and every day stay consistent and every day stay dedicated to ascension, not your own personal ascension, not how you can heal the world, how you're going to save the world, how are you going to heal the world, how are you going to lead by example an entire population into understanding that they are creating their own reality, that they have access to all of their base needs, that they no longer need to be afraid. And that's something that you each individually, like, I can't tell you how you're going to do that, but that's what it really is to be a super conscious leader. You are doing things all the time. You are taking like inspired action. You're not just being one with like, you want to go be somewhere, go sit next to the ocean, go to Hawaii, go to Bali, go to the jungle, go and be. But then come back and do something. Help the planet move forward by implementing new strategies because what got us here is not going to get us to the future that we can see where yes, there is still contrast, there is still polarity, but instead of it being like this, it's more of a teeter-totter, like little ebb and flow. You're not doing pendulum swings like this anymore. And things are different in five like higher levels of consciousness, right? We're having telepathic conversations all the time. We're moving by locating. Like that scene from Star Wars where Luke is like meditating, but then he like bilocates all the way across and goes in the fight with Kylo Ren, and then afterwards he just like stares into the sun and is like becomes one with the sun. Yes, that's definitely much more what 5D is going to feel like, but Earth is a planet of contrast. Earth is a planet and will be for thousands of years, guys. So any of you who think that like in the next 20 years we're just going to like pop into this new age, like it will take changing mass global consciousness. We have to hit critical mass of the amount of people that understand things on the level that we understand them. Okay, I just talked a lot. Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone want to like jump in for a second? Because this was a whole lot, and I know it's really dense, but it's important that we as the leaders start looking at even the constructs of what's being presented in the general spiritual awakening, ascension, light worker community, because a lot of it is still attached to victimization. A lot of it is still attached to you can be used as like an energy sort, like I don't even know. I've just been seeing it literally like all over for the last couple of days, which is the reason why this live became the live like topic that we were having is because like even influencers that I follow talking about really victimized like belief systems that are just, they're just bullshit. Like no one is doing anything to you that you aren't allowing them to do. Now you might be unconsciously allowing them to do it, but again, as soon as you have the conscious understanding like, oh, that's what's happening, you have the tools to cut it, right? Like, oh, I'm allowing my ex-lover to siphon off my energy because I'm actually still connected because I didn't do the work to incinerate the cord between us. I just like cut it a little bit because I still had emotional attachment, right? Detach emotionally, detach energetically, detach that way, but stay committed to the end goal. And the end goal is changing mass global consciousness. Like, you're going to have to do something at some point. You don't get to just like be all the time. And the structures show up for you, and you have to commit to doing the structures. You have to commit to doing the thing. If you have an opportunity present to you 5 different times, then maybe it's time for you to say yes and understand that the universe, it's like, do you guys remember during like Hurricane Katrina, there was like that video of the dude sitting on the roof and they like sent a boat and he's like, nah, I'm good. And they sent another boat and he's like, nah, I'm good. And they sent a helicopter and he's like, nah, I'm good. And he sat on his roof because he was just convinced that the water was going to go down. That is what is happening when you have situations present to you over and over and over again, and all you have to do is get on the damn boat. Like all you, but you still have to do something. You still have to like stand up and walk to the edge of your house and get in the boat and put on the life jacket and get to safety. But it's presenting, right? I gave the example the other day in my life that for me it was like lead generations and creating like an email funnel, which seemed so not metaphysically sexy. And yet, like every mentor that I had and every coach, didn't matter if they were metaphysical or 3D, would have this fucking lead generation system in place. And I finally bit the fucking bullet and created it. And guess what? I have more income coming in passively than I've ever had coming in before. Why? Because I finally just did the damn thing that was presenting to me. Sometimes you cut cords and you walk into a room and you're presented with it, what the thing that you thought you were going to need to take 5 years to build. And other times you need to just sit down and you need to channel out the 5 fucking emails and you need to set up the web pages and you need to set up the lead generation. You need to create the Instagram post for the next months. Like you have to do some of these things because again, you're creating your reality. So you wouldn't keep giving yourself the opportunity to use this tried and true method already if you weren't either supposed to change the method and make it better or use it so that you could then have resources to do the other things that you want to create, right? We utilize what we're given, and everything that we're in relationship is a creation of ourselves. We are always being given a reflection of our own inner consciousness. So if you believe that you are only capable of this and that you're afraid of the success, then you will only ever get so far. But if you believe that you are here to be a living legend, if you are here to be the example of what it means to be the creator manifest in form, if you are here for the betterment of the entire planet, if you are here because you know that shit is broken, but you're not going to bitch about it being broken, you're just going to focus on fixing it, then you come to the right place, my friend. So, I love you all. Thanks for spending the last 45 minutes with me. Remember that Ascension Volume 1 is available. I will leave the links in my bio, but I'll have it all underneath the videos as well. For 99 cents, it supports Operation Underground Railroad. You also get free access to the Accelerated Ascension Bootcamp if you go and purchase it through my website. And yeah, we're gonna have a lot of fun in here over the Superconscious Festival is coming up. Master classes are gonna be sign-ups start next week for the Mirror Mantra Masterclass, and the Superconscious Festival will be at the end of the month. We have a lot of stuff coming, guys. Really excited. We're going to start doing more live streams in here with more of you guys. So if you're interested, if you wanted to go live, if you have something to share, if you know that you're a leader of a cause and you're wanting to play and you have a healing modality you want to share, maybe you're just wanting to get your feet wet on Facebook Live because it intimidates the fuck out of you, let me know and we will get you set up and you can come and speak to the group because that's what it's here for. So I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your Thursday. Go soak up some codes. Go and figure out, what does it mean to lead? That's your homework assignment. What does it mean for me to be a super conscious leader? And go journal about it and see what comes up. I'd love to hear from you if you're willing to share or you have any questions. So I love you. Have a beautiful day.